Sweet. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Principle Paragon podcast. Officially a podcast. It's also a YouTube channel. You should go check us out, Principle Paragon, youtube.com. Back again with my good friend, Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited to finish what we started maybe a month ago?
Yeah.
Is it over a month?
Probably, to be quite honest.
It's been hectic.
It has.
School's starting. We got a lot in the works, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, how much do we tell about our own lives?
How
much do you guys want to know about our own lives?
They probably don't give a shit.
Probably not, but I kind of want to talk about ROTC, but we won't.
All right. Well, anyway.
Now you guys know.
Yeah, so we got a whole new microphone setup. Hopefully, I'm not talking too loud. I don't know how any of that works, to be honest. Totally new at it, so forgive me if I just spoke really, really loud into the microphone earlier. I'll try and edit that later.
I don't give a fuck, to be quite honest. If you have a problem, tell me.
Yeah, say it to his face. Come find us.
Meet me at the fucking school parking lot at 6. And we'll fight with fist.
With fist.
Yeah. Alright, let's
So, topic last time that we left off on was responsibility.
Yeah.
And we came to a whole bunch of conclusions about what we kind of see in terms of responsibility in the modern day. I'm not going to lie. I didn't rewatch the video. Probably should have. But it's fine because it doesn't necessarily
I was
matter.
like, whoa, I didn't think of that either.
Yeah, kind of. We're a little stupid. But it's fine because we're going to philosophize today. We're going to try and figure out whether or not what's going on today is actually the right way to go about determining responsibility. So we're going to come up with a couple of different theories, likely. That's the goal. On what specifically we would like to... some different moral theories on how you determine responsibility. You still fixing that chair? Or?
The chair fucking sucks dick, bro. Hold on. All they're going to hear is the fucking chair switching.
I wonder if they could see the other one just chilling over there. It's fine.
Alright, anyways.
Everything's fine. Alright, so... I think definitely it's always a good spot to just start by just defining what responsibility is.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 options. We can Google that shit, or we can try and come up with our own definition and then verify it with Google.
I mean, it's kind of fun
to make up your own first.
And then
see how dumb you are via Google later. I like this idea. Alright, so I feel like I'm always like standing off to the side. But basically, if I had to give responsibility a definition, I would probably say it has to do with who is to deal with the consequences of an action.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Mine would be...
Let's hear it.
Those that are responsible for their own actions.
Yikes.
Yikes.
The teacher in the class was like, oh yes, but...
you can't use
the word in the definition.
I'm trying to think. You fucking nailed it on the head, no lie.
I think next time I'm just going to put you on the spot and be like, alright bitch, define it. And you're going to be like,
you're putting me on the spot right now. I'm trying to think.
I mean, if we can agree on that definition, we could just Google it. I want you to criticize me.
Alright. I'm not going to criticize you. Look it up.
Alright.
I promise.
Okay. Go over to the handy dandy compute. Define... I almost said principle. Responsibility. Alright. So Google says the state or fact of having duty to deal with something or having control over someone. The state or fact of being accountable or blamed for something.
Okay.
So I think that's what we're going for. So being accountable for... So the state of being accountable. Let's write that down.
Right.
The state of being accountable.
For an individual's actions?
For individual actions. God, it's not going to be big enough. So I always write too small.
That's a horrible.
That's awful.
Eraser, and you're using your hands.
Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
Yeah, we need to bring somebody on here who has really good handwriting.
Got a pretty good handwriting.
That's right.
It's Responsibility. Your handwriting's so atrocious that I'm more worried about your... Bro! Oh!
Responsibility. Wait, no, is that right?
Bro, what are you doing?
Did I spell that right? Bro, it just looks crazy to me.
It looks disgusting.
Don't talk about it.
I should have wrote that.
You probably should have. Do you want to write from now on? Here, do you want to...
Right. I'm kind of like a jock.
Go ahead. Yeah. Writer boy.
I like making fun of you.
Yeah. It's pretty easy, to be honest, when I'm such a dumbass.
They probably were all like, this guy's 6 foot, and then I stood up. Kind of ruined it.
You ruined the surprise. Alright. So we said it was the state of being accountable for individual actions.
State of being... I also write really slow.
Okay. Accountable.
And I do this before I finish.
Never say that again.
Yeah,
hold up, brother. There's an N in there. There's an N.
I forgot.
Account.
I forgot.
He failed the verbal, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind him.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Accountable. They don't even know about verbal. That doesn't look right. It's okay.
It is.
The state of being accountable for individual actions. For an individual's action. The state of being accountable for
an individual's actions.
For an individual's actions.
All right. For the state of being accountable for individual consequences.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's cheating or not, to be honest, because it's really like saying like the state of being accountable for individual consequences of action, like, you know what I mean? But it's fine. It's fine. So how would you?
That's spelled right.
Individual consequences. Yeah, accountable. Yeah, hopefully you spelled all that right.
I mean, I hope so.
Otherwise, you're gonna look like a dumbass forever.
Well, at least I won't fucking spell like a dumbass, bro.
What do you mean? Responsibility is spelled right.
I didn't mean to say that. I meant, did it? Fuck.
Words are so hard.
Yeah, words are kind of hard.
It's crazy how that works.
At least I didn't fucking write like a dumbass. Is what I wanted to say.
Me. Yeah.
There you go, Chief. All right.
Chief. So,
anyways,
how would you determine who is responsible? Who is accountable for individual consequences? So. All right. Do you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll lead.
I'll lead. I'll follow. Go ahead. Jeez.
I think it's obvious that you have to have something to do with the consequence. You have to be in some way, shape, or form.
I want to put points up to see who sounds stupid and who doesn't.
Yikes! It's gonna be really bad for you later.
Yeah. I don't want to put my first name because there's some weirdos out there. I'll put your first name though, so they can find you.
All right. Well, I introduced you as Raphael, so that's really awkward.
Did you? Fuck.
You just leave it. We call him Santi anyway, so from now
on.
You
call me Raph too. That's
nobody
cool.
says that.
Some people.
Yeah.
All right. Fuck you. Go ahead with your points.
So my first point would be that you have to have something to. You had to have had some part in the action that led to the consequences. So you had to have played some role in the actual act that led to the consequences.
I like the other one, the other way you just said it right there. Instead of had to have had some part.
Had some role.
Yeah, there we go. Had some role. Wait, had to have had some role. Wait. Had to have said. You said something originally that was really good.
I don't remember.
Had to have played.
Had to have. So you would have had to have some role in the act of the consequences, like the actions that led to the consequences.
This is a freaking huge
point. Yeah, I get that a lot about things that are really in my. So, anyways, had to have some role in the act that
led to the consequences.
Is that lead? Is that how you spell lead?
That's lead.
Yeah. Is it just LED?
I think, isn't it one of those words that can be spelled the same?
I don't know.
Bro, we
All
gotta
right.
get bad at it. We gotta
Listen, we're not English majors. We're business majors. The world knows we're a little stupid, and that's fine.
We'll get better as it goes.
Okay.
Let's
just
you
gonna
thought
stop
I was
there.
gonna say. You thought I was gonna say some dumb shit.
You were just gonna get better as it
goes.
I didn't think you were gonna say goes at the end. I thought you were just gonna stop there.
All right. Do you have another point, you idiot?
No. I'll let you speak. Well,
all right. So I'm gonna go with the devil's lettuce.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, but I like calling it devil's lettuce.
All right, that's a little weird. Don't mind it.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, so supposedly, I don't know how accurate this is. This is just something I heard.
It needs to be segregated. Go on.
I've heard that supposedly some monks, I don't know where.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's watching this, please vouch for me. Anyways, so apparently there's like monks somewhere that they believe that every individual action or anything that happens to you is your fault. Mm-hmm. So let's say, what is it called? We were skiing.
Yeah.
And literally someone came out of nowhere and shot you.
Yeah.
That's your fault. Some people would be like, that's crazy. Like, how can that be your fault? That person randomly came out of nowhere and shot you. But it was your fault because you were the one that made the decision of going down that hill with me and also not being more aware of your surroundings. If you would have been more aware 24/7, this would have never happened to you. Yeah. So essentially, in that case, everything that you do would be your fault.
Yep.
That's what I'm going with.
That's actually an idea I'm pretty sure that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, where he thinks that...
You've heard of this before?
Well,
I'm not an idiot?
I don't know if I've heard it about the monks thing, but, like, it is an idea in some cultures that, like, it basically anything that happens to you is your fault. Or not necessarily even your fault, but it's to have the idea of having zero expectations of the world around you and to kind of not let anything that happens affect you and to take full responsibility for all the things that do happen to you because of that. So, like, for example, really extreme example, right? Like, grandma dies, all right? If you were to think about it as, like, all right, grandma's had Alzheimer's for, like, a decade, and we knew she was going to die, but now I'm really sad that she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, those kinds of people would blame themselves for grandma's death.
Oh, yeah.
Or they would also make sure that kind of sadness doesn't influence the person that they are, and so they have that, like, really stoic mindset of, like, I can control my mind and therefore kind of the world around me sort of thing. I'm not sure 100% whether or not those ideas are related or not. But, for example, like, you could have been working for, like, your whole life to make sure that nobody dies of Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
But because you didn't, you never know. You might
Yeah.
have solved that shit and grandma never would have died and you wouldn't be sad now. You know? I mean, so I totally get where you're coming from.
So I'm right. We can end the podcast now.
Good, all right. Thanks for coming again, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for watching. You just heard it from him. I'm right.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
But no, that is a good theory, actually. And I think that is actually one that's plausible because it leads to my idea that you should be able to give people responsibility within the realm of their free will not being influenced.
Well,
because I think that every human should be entitled to free will. And I think that as long as you're governing them in a sense that, like, you're adding, like, virtue to society and everyone's being a good person and not whatnot, as long as that free will is being used to benefit society, everyone's kosher.
Which, of course, would then lead to a utopia.
Hopefully.
That would be a utopia. If that were to actually happen.
Well, yeah, because everyone would be using their free will to not be dickheads.
Exactly.
That's pretty self-explanatory, I hope.
Because when everyone's... It's like one of those things where one of the things that we want to talk about like how, like, babies when they all are innocent when they first come out. Like, no one ever is actually, like, truly evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things that if we were in a world like that, no one would be actually
Mm-hmm. I agree, actually.
Wanting to harm others and stuff.
So, the problem with that, however, becomes apparent because, I mean, now, both of our opinions right now are going to be influenced by the society that we've grown up in. And obviously, in our current society, we have a system where, like, okay, you hit my car in traffic, that was your fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault, so now you're liable to pay for my new car, right?
Yeah.
And so you would if you hit my car, I would win that case in court, right? Because you were the one who had the biggest role in what led to the consequences, right? And that's kind of how society seems to function right now. And I do think that if we're to go that route, right? So there's two different schools of thought here. There's you can give other people responsibility for consequences who are not yourself.
Yep.
And there's yours who is, well, you know what?
You can't.
Everything's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that ever kind of happens to you is...
These are very, very complex moral theories in and of themselves. We could probably do a whole 2 episodes on this and a whole 2 episodes on that. So it is going to be difficult to unravel both of those. And we might even come up with others.
True.
But right now what goes on in society is kind of... it makes my viewpoint difficult, right? Because I think that in some way you kind of have to take someone's free will in order for there to just not be constant chaos. You know what I mean?
So you're saying, okay.
I think if we nurtured society the right way and everyone was a good person, I think that would work. I think your idea is I think your idea is the perfect idea.
That everything is your responsibility.
I'll say that up front. Yes.
You think that this would be the ideal.
Yes, I think that's the ideal moral theory.
But this would never exist. This has to exist.
I think that we need this one until we get to a future where we can have that one.
Or we have that like peaceful time where we can all give responsibility to it. But I feel like what would be fuck. I'm trying to defend my thing, but now I don't want to defend it, so fuck you. But anyway, so...
Because I agreed with you don't want to defend it anymore?
Yeah.
Is that how this works? All right.
So, I mean, then, really, you think that? Like, I feel like even in a peaceful environment with, like, I feel like that...
Well, listen, think about it. Think about it, right? If, in the perfect world, there really wouldn't be any seriously, like, life-changing consequences where I feel the need to actually have your free will fix that, right? To help set in place my fucked up reality.
Yeah.
So, I think, man, it's so crazy that this is really, what this seems to be to me is something that will change with time, actually. That throughout history, the way that we've given people responsibility maybe has changed. And I think will continue to change, yeah.
I feel like there's always going to be people pointing fingers at someone else.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. Like, back in, like, the old days, even in France until, 1920 or some shit, when they were still beheading people, right? Like, in order to give somebody, like, they would transfer the consequences and amplify them if you were responsible for them. So, for example, I go and kill the Queen's son of England. She's like, wow, that's some really shitty consequences. I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? To remedy that.
Yeah,
so that you're responsible, so you're just going to get the same consequences that he got.
Yeah, or worse, your son will get killed by it.
That'd be awful.
Yeah.
Man, I'd rather just die at that point.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I think that's that's one example of the way that society had a different way of assigning responsibility to other people. Maybe even further back than that. And this is another idea that me and Jason talked about in our morality session, where we talked about, like, morality itself has changed over time. Easily visible, right? Like, we used to, like, sacrifice babies, like the Aztecs used to just fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Like, we used
kind of nasty.
Kill people for war just freely. We would kill people for
war crimes.
Yeah, there was no war crimes. Yeah, like, shit like that. And then today we have a much more civilized society where things are a lot more structured and we have a lot more moral laws.
Yeah.
And reasons for believing in those moral laws. Before it was just kind of like, well, we didn't have anything to go off of, so we just did whatever the hell we wanted to, or whatever we felt was necessary to kind of survive. Like in today's world, like killing someone for food is wrong.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that?
You know, 100,000 years ago, that was the norm. So,
yeah,
right?
It really was.
So I think it's clear that morality acts in the same way. I'm not necessarily sure if responsibility does. I have to think of. Can you think of any other examples of how responsibility was different than how it is today?
I mean, there was what was called Hammurabi's like code, the one that is the eye for eye type thing.
What's that?
What?
What's that?
I mean, you didn't learn that?
No. What's Hammurabi's code?
He's so uneducated.
Yeah, I'm really a complete troglodyte, actually.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Spell troglodyte, bitch.
Yeah, you're making me feel like a dumbass now. But anyways, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was during like, not the Egyptian time. Maybe it was, the very, like Mesopotamia and all of them.
Okay.
I think it was during that time. I'm not sure. I'm probably making sound
Maybe
like
the
a dumbass.
Byzantine Empire era.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was like everyone had an assigned responsibility essentially to them. So let's say you're a builder. Right?
Okay.
You built this school.
You have a societal role and you are responsible to be within that role.
Yeah. So let's say someone came over and like broke the wall down, and then the wall and then that wall over there collapsed and killed someone. You would die, because it would be like, well, you were the builder, you built the place, but it's like, I had nothing to do with that. It's just like, yeah, but you gotta die. Someone has to pay, and you took the role of being a builder that no one will ever die while building. Same thing as is like, I'm gonna steal something. If you stole something and got caught, they took your hand away, or they took both of your hands away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why I said, like, you kill this queen's son, right? If we were still following those rules, then it would be like, okay, then the queen, it's her absolute right for your son to then be killed. You wouldn't be killed.
Yeah.
But the punishment would be that, you know, you killed her son, she gets to kill yours.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a fucked up, like, way to go about it. But
I totally agree.
I feel like at that time, like, it was kind of some people, not everyone. No, I would say everyone in society, when they were just, you know, following that law, they all held some type of, like, it was responsibility that they already knew. You know what I mean? Like, it was already assigned to them what was going to happen.
Yeah, which is definitely a little different than what we have today, where you kind of get to pick and choose what your responsibility to society
and you can fight things off. There's things nowadays in society, there's think about how many people get away with shit, low-key.
Yeah.
And think about how many people, you know, get in trouble for, like, the littlest things that it's like, really? You know what I mean? And they fight. So it's just like, our laws, like, the responsibility of, like, pointing a finger at someone saying that you have to take responsibility for that, it, like, varies. Because there's, like, there's no offense people with money that get away with a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, but...
That's no secret in society.
Back then in Hammurabi's time,
yeah,
you hit my child with a car, I'm hitting your child with a car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whole
kind of
eye for an eye situation right there. Do you think, and that's a good example, but do you think that in terms of your theory, right, where everything that happens is your responsibility, let's just go back to the builder for a second. Do you think it would have been the builder's responsibility that building actually got knocked down, even though something else external happened to it?
No.
No. So
it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. Okay. So yes.
Do you think he should take responsibility for that?
Everything, in this sense, everything. So let's say the builder was upset. No, he didn't even have to be upset. Let's just say that the building collapsed and killed 2 children, and the mom and dad were angry, right? He would know that that was his fault, right? Even though a hurricane came and wiped it, it would be his fault. Go to the mom and dad, it would be their fault to them, because it would be like, well, we chose to live here and we chose the wrong builder.
Yeah.
So the builder knows it's his fault, but so do they. So it's like, technically, they don't point the fingers, they're always just pointing the fingers at themselves.
I see.
So essentially, what it would do in a society would you'd be very aware of your surroundings in the sense of like you'd always be thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead, so which is not too good.
Well, but in all reality, I think it is, because if you're always thinking about like, okay, I want to make sure that I actually retain as little, like, I get that obviously consequences are bad, but if I do as much as I can to make sure that I receive as little consequences in the future, the same way we do in society today, I think it's technically a good thing.
Well, I think they would have to be taught how to relax, because there's going to be people that would take it to the extreme and be like waiting for all the lights to be green in their house before they even walk out the door, because they're going to be like, wait, what about this happen? What about this? Or this happens, and this happens, and then this happens,
just
and
like
then
totally over.
And then next thing you know, they've been in their house for 8 years and they're starving.
Yeah.
And they're dead.
Oh.
Their bones are there.
It's
been 8 years.
And dead. That's weird.
It was 8 years, Jared.
Oh. Yeah, they're pretty.
8 years. They're dead. Oh. Skeletons on the floor.
In 8 years.
Starving, even though they don't have any feeling in their stomach.
Yeah, that must really
Gone.
suck. So in your moral theory, if we were to implement something like that into society today, right? This is sort of what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
So you have like muchacho numero uno. We have this fuck, okay, and then we have muchacha numero dos.
Why is she taller than the guy?
Yeah, that's how most of my life goes, to be honest. So we're just gonna do it as a
same here.
representation. She
Still.
a giraffe though, not gonna lie. So
well, nope, she's not a giraffe. She's just God. Because where's the floor?
She's floating.
She's just flying. Hello?
It's a hill. All right, look.
Yeah, we'll call it a hill, sure.
See, she's just
on
a hill. Yeah.
That was clever.
I know. I'm a genius. So, anyways, let's just say theoretically, guy number 2, they both live in houses.
Okay.
All right. Let's just say they both live in their own house.
Their own house.
Their own house.
Okay.
Okay. She has a skinny, tall house. It's fine. And they both built their own houses.
Okay.
So they're responsible for everything that happens to their house. Let's just say even if they didn't build their own houses, they're responsible for everything that happens to their house.
Yeah.
So I think one important premise to note there is that maybe it's something that is a part of your personal identity, and if that thing is affected, then you should be responsible for that. Right? So there a lot of philosophers throughout time have actually advocated for the idea that like personal property is actually a part of your identity, and that's one of the reasons why stealing is bad. Because you're actually taking part of somebody's identity.
Oh.
Yeah, and so and that's one thing that I agree with. I think that might have even been one of the reasons that who was the founding father that said that we should include property or land? Is it land?
Abraham Lincoln.
That was not Abraham Lincoln. One of the founding
Barack
fathers.
Obama.
Yeah, that one.
Was it Bush?
Bro. I don't know if it was Thomas Jefferson or not, or whoever, but one of them advocated for
Samuel
the
Adams?
idea, maybe, that instead of it just being like life, liberty in the pursuit of happiness shouldn't be the only things you're like sort of entitled to. I literally blanked so hard that you're entitled to in America. I was like, life, happiness, liberty. But anyways, he advocated for the idea that you should also be entitled to land, to property, which is a neat idea. It's just difficult to do, right? Because then you're just
100%.
giving away land that would, I don't know, I haven't thought about the ideas of just like giving people land to own so that they can live their lives.
There's like a study saying that everyone in the world could have their own like some odd acres to themselves, but that would have to be if the world was in a utopia.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was
I think you get a good amount of land too.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm pretty sure you could fit the entire population of the planet in Texas.
Oh, like, yeah, if they're, like, fucking not moving.
I think they would even have a little bit of room in between them. I'm not sure how
like
much.
This much room. Imagine the...
I don't know if that's a myth or not.
The woman.
The woman.
Would we all be naked?
Where did that come from?
I'm just asking. Like, what in this theory? Because that'd be weird. I'd be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing men butt.
So, all right, back to this.
Yeah, responsibility.
Idea, right? So,
freaking taking me off course.
They're responsible for their own houses in this idea. And like you said, a hurricane comes by, and it's just messing everything up. It just freaking takes out the houses. And they're like, oh no, my house. Are they? But let's just say this person's house is worth $2 million, and this guy's house is worth $1 million.
Okay.
This person has $1 million worth of damage done, and this guy only has $500,000 done.
Yeah.
Right? Are you responsible? You're not responsible at all for what happens to other people, right?
No.
No.
Technically, no. I mean, you are and you're not.
How are you and how are you not?
Well, because if you didn't want it to happen, it's really weird. Like, if that girl has been banging that dude,
on
the low, and she's like, fuck, Bob got his house ruined, and it's kind of ruined.
No, she had $1 million, so she's...
Bro, they both had half damage dealt to their house.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had even amount of damage.
Proportionally, yes.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
Go on.
Alright. So, freaking, she's banging Bob. And she's like, damn it, Bob, I can only fuck at your place because Jim comes home every once in a while. And she fucks this other dude named Jim.
Okay.
On the low. But, Bob knows, and she's upset that they can't have sex at Bob's house. So, that's her fault.
That she's upset?
No, that the fucking house... Well, yes, that too. Everything is your fault. So
everything is your fault.
So literally, the reason that the house... If she was pissed, you know what she should have done? She should have told Bob to prepare for the storm. Because now, if she would have told Bob to prepare for the storm, then they would be able to continue fucking in the house. But she didn't tell Bob. Yeah. So now Bob's house is ruined.
But what if she did tell Bob and Bob spent his whole life in that house and then died 8 years later because he never ate because he was always preparing for the storm that never came?
That would be her fault for telling him to prepare
for the storm. That never came, huh?
That never came.
Yeah. I don't like this theory as much.
Yeah, I'm telling you that's why it's wild. It's insane.
It is pretty crazy.
But in a perfect society, it would be good. I'm kind of wise.
Maybe.
But that's only if you really care.
Was my initial thought.
Because technically, you would be okay with that. You would be okay with knowing that.
So let me ask you this.
Okay, that was my fault.
Let me ask you this. He only has $0.5 million left of the house, and he fixes it all with another $0.5 million, and he's back up to the $1 million, right?
Okay.
But she can only fix her house with $500,000. So she's $500,000 short to fix the rest of what happened to her house.
Mm-hmm.
Is he at all responsible for that other $500,000?
If he cares, yeah.
If he cares. So if it's a part of his personal identity, he feels, then he should.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm liking this theory, and I'm not liking this theory.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Because, in my opinion, what ends up happening is we associate more and more, and when we identify with the universe as a whole, you recognize more and more that you are actually just like, you're just the universe perceiving itself over and over and over again. That's all humanity has been so far.
Mm-hmm.
We're just literally a bunch of fucking atoms that somehow gain consciousness, and it's literally just a bunch of those atoms experiencing things and then dying, and then other atoms experiencing things and dying, and that process just keeps getting repeated over and over again. Is that the Illuminati? Yeah. You should have done it in green. That's a missed opportunity.
Shut up.
So anyways. So at that point then, like you said earlier, literally everything becomes a part of your responsibility.
Yeah, that's your thinking.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like, all right, so I give all of my money and all of my time to helping solve world hunger, right? And then it's like, all right, well, I gave all of this stuff to them because I felt it was my responsibility, but like now I don't have anything for me, so it's
you're hungry.
Yeah, and then I'm hungry, so it's everyone's responsibility then to come back and help me. And it kind of would likely do this back and forth thing until everything sort of balanced out, right?
Yeah. Cool. There's like a lot of pain and suffering through that, but okay.
I like and dislike the theory still.
I mean...
For instance, it doesn't encroach on free will. So, at that point, it almost incentivizes you to not identify with the world around you, and actually might push you back into, like, egotism, right? Where you basically only identify with yourself, and I'm only responsible for me. And that's it. And at that point, it's like, well, why would I help everyone else when I don't identify with them? I don't feel responsible for what the fuck happened at Jill's house.
Or the opposite happens, and you do identify with as everyone as you.
But what if I want to have more than everyone else?
You can.
So
not really.
But not really, exactly. But what's stopping me then? Are you responsible for my egotism?
Yes.
So you then have to kill me.
I'll do what I must.
Oh no!
And backflip into what?
And then you're encroaching into my free will. Via other means other than giving me responsibility. If the premise you're operating on is that you don't want to encroach on somebody's free will, I think that leads to really dangerous things, actually.
But I don't care.
Shit.
So, like, I just don't know. That's not what I meant.
It's actually...
I didn't mean, I don't care about what you just said. You're like, well, shit.
So I think it's actually... Are you in agreement with what I just said?
Well, yeah, but, like, I'm trying to...
All right, you're trying to advocate for your side. All right.
Bitch.
Which is good. No, this is good. So really, what I've confirmed really more for myself, and I don't know about you or anyone else, but it actually kind of makes sense to me now why in society we're kind of okay with encroaching on free will in order to remedy consequences. It actually makes a little bit of sense. It seems to me if you follow the logical path of where things go, if you have the premise of I shouldn't do anything that influences anybody else's free will, then that leads down a very dangerous path for humanity.
Or...
if that's a life principle.
Or it just doesn't.
Or it just doesn't.
Which it most likely would, but... if it didn't...
That's why I said, remember I said in the beginning that I think that in a utopian society, that's the fucking way right there.
Yeah.
And this really, we've made no progress because all we've done is affirm the fact that this makes sense for today's society.
Yes.
So, we're back to square one, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Principle Paragon podcast, YouTube channel, whatever the hell this thing is. My name's Jerry. This is Raphael Santi.
I can call myself Raphael, and I'm also a Santiago, and I can be possibly a junior, but we don't know yet.
You don't know if you have a dad?
You mean I don't know if my dad has the same name, and I don't. He hasn't came back for years now. He said he was going to get like some cigarettes or something.
Stop.
Never came back.
When did you say that? Like 5 years ago? Like 13 years ago?
How am I now?
The numbers meme is just
the numbers. The numbers. About probably about like 18 years.
So, anyways, I don't think that realistically we're at the point yet in society where we even need to focus on this yet.
Yeah, I think that would be no good. People would turn insano mode.
I agree. I think that maybe if we ever get to that utopian future, whatever, where everyone just has unlimited resources, free will shouldn't be encroached on, and you can live your own singular life if you so choose, and if you want to identify with the rest of the universe, that you do your best to help the rest of the universe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that includes a lot of things, by the way. So we'll just keep that in mind, that is a very distant future.
That I don't want to be part of.
Ah, shit. Honestly, I hope I'm dead by then.
Yeah, facts.
Anyways.
I want to be frozen.
That's weird.
Is it?
I'm just kidding. It'd be pretty cool, maybe.
I
Wait,
think
like frozen, like so that you can come back later, or like frozen?
Yeah, frozen.
Just to be frozen.
A cryo chamber.
Oh. Like Star Wars kind of like thing.
No,
Like
he got put in oil or whatever.
Han Solo.
I know what it was, but I'm saying it looked like it was oil. Like he looked like a chocolate bar. I don't want to look like
look like a chocolate bar.
I don't want to look like a chocolate bar when I get frozen. I want to look like a sexy popsicle.
Oh, but like a chocolate popsicle, obviously.
No, I want to be a see-through popsicle where they see my sexy body.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Fuck you. All right.
So, in terms of today's society, so we are operating on the premise that it is okay. Can I borrow the black marker?
Yes.
Actually, can you write this?
Yes.
That, and like a dash under this, that it's okay. So we're operating on the premise that it's okay to encroach on other people's free will to a certain extent, within the realm of responsibility.
How'd that fucking happen? Alright.
It is okay.
I just want to make sure that I get the right thing.
To...
Encroach?
Yeah, I guess encroach is a fine word for it.
Is that spelled right?
Honestly, probably. Not entirely sure. I haven't spelled encroach in a minute.
E-N-C-R.
Bro, the camera's not going to say anything back.
I thought this was a live stream.
Yeah, no, you're spelled. It's
Is this not a live stream?
No, bro, that's a little awkward that you thought that.
Weird. Damn.
So anyways, it's okay to encroach on others' free will. As long as they have had, which is fine, you can actually, okay. As long as they had some role in the act. You don't have to write all that. That's good. We'll just...
All I'm saying is my writing is way better.
It is way better.
It went a little bit crooked on the side right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to call myself out before any of you fucks do.
What's it like to be stupid? You want to tell the world?
I mean, hey, look, I don't even know what the heck that says. Because
responsibility. Are you illiterate?
Nah, I didn't say that. I can barely even... It looks like hieroglyphics.
Shit.
That's how ugly it is.
Got me again. Yeah. You're right. You're darn right. Okay, so we have a bubble sort of that we're allowed to operate within now in terms of how we can distribute responsibility. So we are allowed to say, all right, you hit my car, you played a pretty major role in the consequences that have ensued. Mm-hmm. So as long as I am being reasonable in how much free will I get to take from you in order to remedy the consequences. So now it really just gets into how do you determine how much free will you get to take.
That's kind of sketch.
And I think this is actually where we left off last time, because I don't even think we ended up reaching a conclusion. We basically just said the same thing that we've always said so far of like, well, as long as it produces more good than bad, then fuck it.
I mean, yeah.
It does make sense.
I mean, what would you like
I don't
from
know.
the conclusion, you piece of shit? We went over this twice.
It seems relativistic and it seems unspecific. Like, anyone can say that. And don't get me wrong, I do think it's a good principle. It's just so hard to really actually carry out a principle like that because you have to do so much, like, going back and forth, which is why we have court systems and stuff like that, which makes sense to kind of debate on stuff like that.
That's why I was saying, like, earlier, some people get away with stuff and some people don't get away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Nope.
Alright, well.
So, really...
That's it for today's show, podcast. I'm going to end this short. No, I'm joking.
It's funny. You said short, which is what we both are.
Are we talking about my size? My penis size?
There it is!
Alright. Go ahead. Throw it at me. No. Stop. Not the actual reason.
Sorry, I'm getting so off track.
No, it's fine.
How do you determine something like that? It's so hard without saying... It's so hard to come up with any other idea other than what I've been raised in society right now. It's so difficult. Like, you have to have some really radical idea that just straight up wouldn't work in society today.
I was about to say something.
What are you going to say?
No, it's not okay to say.
Oh, okay. You're just like, we should just start killing people, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we should start offing people.
Yeah.
By choice.
Yeah.
We'll start off with anyone that uses, wears socks that are blue. I'm not saying that because you are wearing socks.
Of course.
That'd be targeting.
I'll take them off right now.
Yeah. No, you can leave them on.
It's okay to encroach on others' free will. Realistically, what we do. That's basically where prison comes in, to the point where you can't physically remedy the situation. You just go to prison as punishment. Right? So, for example, I am a homeless man in this scenario. And
Am I in this scenario?
Yes, and you are a multi-millionaire.
I mean, that's not far off. That's the future.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm really describing...
Like in an hour.
Yeah.
Continue.
And I burned down your multi-million-dollar house. Right.
Okay.
I obviously don't have the physical resources to remedy the consequences. So it's almost like, well, at that point, yeah, I just kind of go to prison for a long time.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, well, you owe, like, you technically are still responsible for that. But it's almost like, well, you physically can't. So you just kind of get fucked. Yeah. In which case, it's almost like do you make money in prison and then have to give that money back to society?
Bro, I don't know. I think the only people that ever do that are, like, the ones that, like, committed fraud and then, like, sold their company.
Yeah.
I don't
know. It's such a difficult thing to conceive of. Because I'm trying to not reference the system that's in place, but at the same time, like, it's making sense to me.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with just saying that. Like, it makes sense and just saying it and then, like, you know, being like, hey, this is, we proved that society got it right for once.
That society's system of using courts, qualified judges, and juries. I wanted to call them panels.
I was like,
juries,
what?
To sort of relativistically define how much one is responsible for an action or the consequences of an action that they had a role in.
Yeah.
And I think basically what we, I guess, rightfully do is what we're doing today is just to kind of play it by ear and then say.
I think what we have now is the only thing we can do. Like, morally. And, like, that's okay. Morally wise, I think what we're doing now is the only thing we can do for right now until society changes as a whole. Mm-hmm. Because in other countries, you talk back, you get killed.
Yeah.
And like responsibility, like they don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the government that chooses to respond. Like, you know what I mean? There's different ways in different parts of the country, different parts of the world that they tell you how you hold on, like how they give you responsibility. So I feel like as of right now, and we're kind of going with like responsibility on the more of the extreme side.
Yeah.
Because like we're not doing like just basic responsibility of like, hey, you have the teacher assigned you homework and is it your responsibility to do it or is it the teacher's responsibility to do it if you don't do it? Which make no sense.
Yeah.
It make no English.
No English. At all.
None.
What you just did.
Zero.
I think that in terms of, you made a good point just now, too, that we're talking about this in a really extreme sense. If we go back to, like, some of the smaller cases, right, where, like, for example, you step on Jason's laptop in the dark and it's fucked up.
I didn't do that. That wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. So really, in that case, we would basically hand it off to somebody qualified. And if I was a Greek or Roman philosopher, I'm sure that I would probably say that the philosopher is the most qualified to determine something like that. Oh, dude, the camera's totally crooked, isn't it? Maybe not. It totally is.
Yeah, it's crooked. Hi.
We're like 50. We're almost an hour into this. And it's been crooked this whole time.
All right, we gotta wrap it.
Honestly,
We're doing the wrap.
It's not that crooked.
Let's do the wrap for these people.
Okay, but hold on, real quick.
Oh shit.
So let's just go through an example for this, right?
Okay.
We're not gonna actually go through with any of this because I think we're gonna come to a good conclusion about this. So, who's responsible for what happened between you and Jason with the laptop? This is not just so everybody knows, this has not been made out to be a big deal because it's not. Well, Jason didn't make it out to be a big deal, so it was kind of just the path of least resistance to just be like, yeah, well, my laptop's kind of fucked. Like, there's nothing I can really do.
It's also not true. It's just
made up. We made this one up. It's just it's a scenario that
it's a folk. It's a folk tale. Is that what they used to call it back then?
Yeah, back in the olden days.
Was that what it was called? Folk tale? Tale folk?
No, it's not that. Tale folk's not it. No.
Was it folk tale?
So what? I asked you earlier what it's like to be an idiot.
Anyways, so this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I think it was both of our fault.
Yeah.
Now let me explain why. So if this were to actually happen in real life, and I stepped on his laptop in the dark, he did leave it there, and he should know that, again, if this actually happened, that if I climb on the above him where we're sleeping and stuff like that, like it was bunk beds. So bunk beds, he knows I have to step in that general vicinity to get up. So it's like that's his fault for it being cracked because like it's dark. I don't want to turn on the light to disturb him.
Yeah.
So I'm just using it to get up there and I step on it, crack. Now it's partially my fault too because it's like, well, I could have looked better at my feet before walking there. And on top of that, I did come in late. So for all he knew, I just wasn't showing up that night. Because that's happened before. I would sleep in another place.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe he was just like, oh, this is normal. He usually doesn't, if he doesn't come by 12 o'clock, like midnight, he's not coming.
Yeah.
So I'll leave my laptop here. He won't come, and then I step on it. Then it's kind of like my fault because it was like I didn't. It wasn't like the normal repetition.
Yeah.
The daily thing that I do. Like I broke the daily. What is the word I'm thinking of right now?
Principle? Habit?
Yes, habit. I broke the daily habit that I had
Yeah.
of like, I either am there before midnight, or if I'm not there before midnight, I'm never showing up that night.
Yeah.
So I broke that habit, and shame on me.
Yeah. And you know what? So this will be the principle. This is it.
Okay, go ahead, write it.
Whomstever. That was bad. Catch throw.
Catch throw.
It was on both of us. Yeah. Thanks. So whomstever can provide the most amount of sound arguments as to why they are more or less responsible for consequences will be so. So, for example, if you have more sound, which means it's valid and it's true arguments, as to why you are less responsible for the consequences, then you will be less responsible. Because you have more reasons to believe that you are less responsible.
Okay.
It's a pretty logical system, I think.
I think so. I think it...
And it's really what it is I think we've come to the conclusion today that what's going on in society is a logical thing to go about determining responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I know you gave me this marker, but you really don't want my shit-ass handwriting out there.
No, that's fine. You started with shit, you can end with shit. You'd be cool, come on.
I'll write half of it.
Sure, write half. That's gonna look weird, but I'm so down because of the fact that it'll look different.
This is like,
too weird how I randomly get like tall out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's crazy how I randomly just get really short out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Wow. You didn't have to do my pink line like that. Alright, so the people who are listening to this on a podcast are actually going to be like, yo, these people are crackheads. Y'all can't see anything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And I don't feel at all bad about it.
Yeah. Should we crack more jokes, or was the jokes enough cracked?
I don't know if you joked enough cracks.
Cracking jokes.
Principle?
I'm gonna just talk to you guys while he's...
Oh, this is not big enough, first off. Second off, check your phone so I know what fucking principle this is. What number?
What number?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not on my phone, guys. I'm just looking at something. Alright, we have 1, 2... The go-offs don't count, right?
No.
1,
You can just go to the Instagram page. They're all there. It should be 4, maybe?
4.
4?
Yeah, this is 5.
Oh, this is 5?
Because we were talking about Area 51. When? I don't remember. I was fucking talking about Area 51.
Remember we talked about transparency?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the Area 51 one.
And we were talking about a little bit about Area 51, I guess.
Yeah, remember we were like, should the government just tell us what's going on with it?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, so
That
this
was
is
a
definitely
good,
number 5
that was a good
then?
video. Yeah, number 5.
You don't want to check Instagram? I'll just write it.
Instagram.
Yeah, they're all Instagram and numbered and stuff.
I don't follow us.
I'm
joking,
That's
bro.
awkward. Oh, sick. So anyways.
Oh, I can't spell.
Yikes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is 5. Because
Whoever. Ooh, that's a W.
wait, this one's a video.
So this is 4. You fuck.
Oh.
This is principle number 4. See?
So this doesn't count.
1, 2.
Oh,
3.
okay.
Yeah. So
Alright.
this is 4. Wow.
I can't really count.
Wow.
I hope you guys enjoyed.
Whoever
Okay, he's
can present the most sound arguments
yeah.
will determine responsibility. Does that make sense? Is that a complete thought?
Whoever can present the most sound arguments will
determine responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can write. Will determine responsibility.
Will determine consequences.
No. I mean, I guess. Ooh, Jesus Christ! I almost died.
Why?
I thought this chair was gonna be so much higher. I literally sat down so fast.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
I'm
she
not
said.
actually. Say.
Can that star spangle? I don't know if you want me to finish, bro. Finish it. Wrap it up, or I'm wrapping it up.
No. I'm not
What?
gonna break into song with you right now.
I don't know what you're fucking talking about right now. I said wrap it up.
This up?
Wrap this up, or I will wrap it up.
Oh,
is what I'm saying.
Do you want to wrap it up? Have you wrapped one of these up before?
No.
Dude, go ahead.
Okay. So, hola, my name is Raphael.
Wow, they know. Come on.
Alright, so principle 4. Whoever can present the most sound arguments will determine responsibility.
Yeah.
So if you are good at BSing, you're gonna make it in life.
Well, that's a good case for why we should have lawyers. Why you should be entitled to a lawyer.
Lawyers.
Ah. A wise man once said.
A wise man.
Y'all don't need no lawyers.
Y'all don't need no lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Heckin' yeah. This was Principle Paragon.
The Principle Paragon.
I can say Principle Paragon too.
Yeah, fuck it, dude.
This was the, hold on. This was the Principle Paragon. Get why I said the? Because like the Ohio State.
Ah, that's not a thing. Yeah, they didn't get that trademark. That's unfortunate.
Really?
They tried to get the
Ohio
word
State.
the trademarked at Ohio State.
No, it is called the Ohio State. I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's what they.
No. It's Ohio State, and then I think they have Ohio State University, and then but Ohio State is like the original one or some shit, and they call themselves the Ohio State.
Yeah, they literally tried to get that trademarked.
So we're the Principle Paragon. I'm Raphael.
I'm Jared Cooper.
And we will catch you on the flip side, like dolphins.
Thanks, y'all, for listening. Be sure to, if you enjoyed, give us a like. And as always, helpful discussion is greatly appreciated in the comments. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. Heckin' yeah. Yeah, heckin'. Heck yeah.
Should you ever just keep recording this, or should I just...
No, you were able to stop whenever. Scream. I wanna scream and shout and let it all out.